on this Thursday as we
Right.
continue our candidate interviews this morning at 8:16, 73 degrees. And in the house this morning, we have Yakima County Commission candidate Stephen Changala. He is a father of five, a retired law enforcement officer serving some 30 years here in the Yakima Valley. And welcome, Stephen.
Good morning.
Yeah, all your listeners, all your voters are out there listening this morning, so
Don't blow it.
Don't
I
blow
mean, welcome them.
I will give it my best shot, thanks.
tell us who you are, Stephen. Who is Stephen Changala, and where you're from, all that good stuff.
Well, I was born in Southern California, and my family moved to the Yakima Valley in 1974. My dad purchased the Black Rock Ranch out east of Moxie, and he drilled the first irrigation well out there in the Black Rock Valley.
All right. And ever since then, you've been growing what? He was growing what?
Oh, we grew all kinds of crops, mostly
Yeah.
wheat. I've been a farmer my whole life. I still farm down in the lower valley.
All right. Well, family, what's going on? You're a father of five. Are they all still in the house?
No, no. My oldest daughter will be 32 this year, and my youngest daughter is 14.
We got a pretty good spread there, Pops. That's
Yeah.
that's got to be fun.
Yes, yeah. My son is 16 years old. He goes to East Valley High School. He's a junior, and he's a varsity baseball player.
Excellent.
All right, so your basic all-American family kind of story there. So your time in law enforcement, county sheriff, all of it or part of it, or?
I started in the city of Union Gap in 1989, and I worked there for 5 years under Dick Simmons. In 1989, I went to the sheriff's office and spent 25 years there.
How would you describe your time? Because you probably, I guess you probably saw the county when it was at its most had the most officers it had, all the way down to when it probably has the least officers. So you probably went through some transitions while you're on the force, huh?
Well, when I was hired on, we had a huge mass exodus at the sheriff's office. I can remember actually being the only deputy working in Yakima County at one time.
Wow. No pressure, right? Wow. You just have to cover 4,000 square miles. So what did you stayed with it a long time. What was it about law enforcement that interested you the most?
Well, I always wanted to be a farmer. And my father told me when I was just out of high school that if I wanted to farm, I needed to get a good job. And what better job than law enforcement?
Yeah. My mom always said, Dave, what we would do if we won the lottery. She's a family farm, my mom and dad. I said, gosh, Mom, you win $2 million in the lottery. What are you going to do? She says, I suppose we'll just farm until we use it all up. I mean, that was kind of the idea that farming is an expensive proposition as well. So were you farming alongside of your officer work, your deputy work at the same time? Were you able to keep your toe in the farming community while you were doing that?
Yeah, I bought a farm down in Brownstown, and I lived down on the reservation for 22 years. And at one point, I had close to 1,000 acres of irrigated farm ground and around 70 head of cattle.
That'll keep a guy busy, that's for sure.
What are you doing now? Currently? Are you still growing? And what are you doing?
Right now, I cut back on my farming. I have about 200 acres, which is almost a hobby farm nowadays.
Jeez.
All right. So as you look at the county commissioner's office and what the county's done in recent times, what kind of grade would you give them? What's your take on how the county's operating so far? Do you like what they're doing? There's some things that you might change?
Well, one of the issues that I've been campaigning on is the water issue. I've been part of the Farm Bureau board, and we work with issues with the farming community, and we're not very happy with the metering program. We've met with the commissioners, we've met with our legislators. My goal as commissioner would be to get rid of the metering program. I don't think it's the way to go. I think it's inhibiting growth in Yakima County, and there are other alternatives to it.
How does it impact you?
Well, it impacts me because it impacts everybody in the county. We had, according to one of our commissioners, 6 permits for new housing this year in the first 6 months. That's dismal. People do not want to put these meters in, so they're looking at other alternatives. If you go to some of our smaller developments who have community wells, they're going nuts. People are building houses in those and not in the county. People who have land who would want to divide it, want to build houses on it, they can't sell it because nobody wants to be involved in this metering program.
You say you've met with Representative David Taylor, county commissioners, farm board, to discuss the long-term goals. What are your, I guess concerning the metering program, what's the answer? What do you think is the answer for that?
Well, David Taylor wrote the fix to the Hirsch decision.
Right.
And in that decision, they gave the counties an out to not go through this metering program. And Yakima County decided to go along with Kittitas County and Benton County, and they jointly decided to go with the metering program.
For people that
You
maybe
would have
aren't
opted out. You would have opted out.
Correct.
Yeah.
for people that aren't up to speed on that, basically, the concern over water is how much are we using? Will we have enough? And we don't really know unless we track that. Is what the statement is, right? We have to track it, so therefore we need a meter to see use. So if you're going to develop, we're going to need you to put a meter on there. And is that a one-time fee? Is that an annual fee? Well, I mean, because it's like several thousands of dollars, isn't it, to put that in to begin with? If you're going to build a home, it's going to add like $3,000 to $4,000 or something like that to your cost.
Well,
does that sound right?
That's a misconception.
Okay, good. Clear us
The
up.
whole Hirsch decision and the fix is not about a water shortage. It's about ownership. All the water was adjudicated, which means it's all owned by the senior water right holder. And the decision is they don't want people taking their water. All the water that runs down the river, all the water that flows under the ground is adjudicated and owned. So what they said is you can't drill a well for your home because that's our water. So the county bought senior water rights from the old Boise Cascade, and if you want to drill a well for your home, what you're doing is they're giving you a piece of paper that says we're giving you a small percentage of this water right that we bought, and that's what the permit cost is. The metering they're charging as a utility. So every month you're paying for the water that you're drawing out of the ground.
All right. And I didn't mean to get this much into the weeds on this, but it is interesting and it does affect people. And so if I don't want to, I don't have another option for water rights, though, do I? If I don't buy it from the county that way, unless an individual property owner who's selling it to me is prepared to, who has senior water rights, would include that in my deal.
Well, what it was before is you were able to drill a exempt well for your home, and the water underneath your house and your property, that was yours to drill a well with no permit or a permit from the county to drill the well.
Just to drill it, but that water wasn't pre-claimed by somebody as part of the river flow type system.
And still to this day, if you live in the county, you can go to the Department of Ecology and you can get a permit to drill a stock water well. And you pay them a permit fee, and now you can pump 5,000 gallons a day, no charge.
Well, I'll just be bathing with the cows then. I'll just be down there having a sip with my horse.
Just put a shower in your water trough.
Interesting. All right. Well, we got to talk more about this down the road. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the other issues. Marijuana was out there as a law enforcement guy. You probably made your fair share of marijuana busts over the years, and all of a sudden it was deemed legal by the state, but the county residents have spoken a couple of times. What's your take on all of that? Where are you at with marijuana?
Well, Washington State made it legal. That's fine. Federally, there's still a ban on marijuana. It's illegal federally. And the state gave each county and each city the option of making it legal or banning it. Now, Yakima County has put this to the voters twice, and they have said no. My personal opinion really doesn't matter at this point. As county commissioner, I work for the people, and I listen to them. And if they say we don't want it in Yakima County, then that's what we're going to do.
All right, fair enough. Any plans yourself? I mean, oftentimes, I mean, you've worked with the county by way of being in a county department for years, so you kind of know how things sort of go. A lot of people want to come in office, say they're going to fix this, change that, do this, and they don't know whether they can do that or not. But do you have any agenda coming in, things that you think that you'd like to see Yakima County become or not become based on commissioner action? I mean, would you like just jump in and go with the flow and see where things are? Do you have some plans coming in?
Well, above the water issue,
Yeah.
Our land has been, we have the land, it's called I'm trying to think of, I went blank on the name, but the county and the state have been imposing regulations on the farmers and the people who own land in the county, and I think
like the growth management kind of thing. Is that where you're going? Yeah.
I just feel that they've kind of overstepped their bounds. They're using agriculture land to prevent people from developing their own property. There has to be some rules and regulations. You know, we can't have them doing everything they want to do, but I think the county and the state have overstepped their bounds in regulating what people do on their own property.
Sure. There's the idea that we don't want to just sprawl everywhere because that's weird for services and stuff. So we want to kind of compact because it's easier to deal with. And yet people have rights to their property. And if they want to sprawl a little, where does that line, come? So, yeah, I could see that's one of the issues that a commissioner would have to deal with.
Right. I was in Zilla talking to a business owner who wanted to move his business to a better location closer to the road, and he couldn't do it because it was zoned agriculture, even though there was a house every 300 feet in between where he wanted to put his business. Because it was zoned agriculture, that he couldn't get the permit to put his building there.
Sure. KIT News Time is 8:28. Well, lots of folks out there listening, lots of voters. This is your chance now they're all staring at the radio. Tell them all why they should vote for you, Stephen.
I have 30 years law enforcement experience. I worked as a patrol officer, detective, and school resource officer in Yakima County. I know our judicial system. I've worked with every branch of it, and that with my farming experience and working with the Farm Bureau for the farmers of Yakima County, I feel like I have the experience on both of the biggest issues that we have in our county to run the county commissioner's office. Thank you.
Stephen Changala, appreciate your time this morning. Again, if I will say, we'll use your confidence when you get through the primary, kind sir. We'll have you back and get into some more of the details on what some of your approaches might be to, like the water issues and other things. But in the meantime, thank you for your years of service on the roads of this county, looking out for the people. We really appreciate that, and helping put food in the mouths of the people of America. And we say thanks for all of your service and wish you the best of luck in the primary.
Thank you.